your questions. Now we have about 50 minutes to ask questions. This is your time. Victoria says, family is like a farm, seeding and weeding. Yes, I love that you talked about seeding and weeding. And then you talked about intentionally, like continuously weeding, paying attention and making sure that all the things that are not supposed to be there, we are present enough to take them out. And you talked about safe spaces for them to be able to fail, which is important. Because sometimes, imagine when a child comes to a parent and say, I have a crush. And the first reaction is that the parent is already freaking out. Why would you have a crush? What is wrong with you? And things like that. Yeah, these are practical things. You've ended up chasing the child. Next time, the child will hold on to whatever it is they perceive as.
Maybe there is an attack.
Exactly. They won't come again. And meanwhile, I love that you said we need to be more interested in their hearts, what is going on in their head. That is my own thing. And thank you for affirming that, because that's my personal, that's what I tell everyone. IJ, what's your secret to parenting? I'll tell you, always pray, both in prayer and in action, that you know what is going on to a large extent in your child's mind. That way you can correct, you can advise and whatever. And don't freak out when they come with things that we don't want to hear. All right. Kenneth says preparedness, intentionality, and authenticity. Parenting is deliberate. Be true to your darkness so your light has significance. All right. Thank you very much. I see a hand here. Okay. So welcome back, Madam Bridget. Okay. So we have, and I'm also going to bring UC. Yes. So let them all take their time to answer our questions. They said we should not say experts, but I'm afraid I have to use that word. They have experience. And I love that we have 12 years and maybe lower. And we also have teenagers, and then we have those in the 20s. So represented. Sister, you see, you've got teenagers, and then Mr. Daniel, you've got 12 and maybe less than that, I suppose. And then Madam Bridget, you've got in the 20s. Brilliant. Or older young adults. I love it. So questions, please. We have Victoria Iyawe in 30 seconds. What's your question? I have two questions. I have some questions that are sent to me personally. But please, Victoria, if you can unmute your mic, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you to both of us. I really learned it. I have a question as well as I have a question for the second. So for the first speaker, you mentioned something about, maybe having the same value, the same goals, so to speak, when you are, looking to maybe get married or something like that. And you mentioned something about maybe one of your goals is to be fit, and you wouldn't want to marry somebody who doesn't have that kind of outlook. And I want you to throw more light, because I know that sometimes along life's journey, you maybe change, some of the things that you thought were important, or maybe things that you didn't realize become more important as years goes by, and how you can navigate it. For example, you are somebody that wants to be fit, but you weren't that person, starting. So how do you navigate that and not look like you are, bending or breaking your goals or your values or that kind of thing? Then for the second speaker, he mentioned something about, China and their family establishment kind of thing. And he mentioned the parents or the parents being responsible for family values, for values as well as academics. And I wanted him to just throw a bit more light on it. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. And first of all, thank you, Mr. Daniel. I got a lot. My note is full. And it's always good to learn. So thank you, Victoria, for your question. So when I say marry your values, yes, some of us might start without values, not even knowing anything. We're just in love and we got married. But I always tell people, when you know better, try and do better. My husband would say it's applied knowledge that gives leverage. So let me use that fitness, for example. As a person, I wouldn't say I'm a fitness person, no. And I eat junk and stuff like that. But as you get older, okay, you need to do better. My husband, growing up, you know, till now, his best drink is still water. So there are things that, you know, he's disciplined when it comes to drinking. He's disciplined in so many ways. And now we're married. He needs to keep his wife healthy because the usual me will just eat anyhow. But he's not like that. So he keeps me. You understand? Sometimes I'm like, something will kill a man. Just leave me alone, please. You know? But the bottom line is being deliberate and doing it together. So if we have to work together to say, oh, we're taking a walk, we use it as time to bond because Bridget needs to keep fitter, not just fit, as in fitter for her purpose. So we do it together. So that's why I keep saying, let every person be teachable, coachable, trainable, so that if you learn something and you need to bring it to the family, we are ready to learn together to say, let's support you in this thing. Our children can bring an idea to say, oh, let's do this thing better. Let's read this book. Let's do that. So even when you don't know, don't marry a man. I tell people, especially if you're single, if you've married already, still start praying. I prayed mentors into my husband's life. Is that Jesus is my mentor gang member? As in, I don't need anybody. I can read my Bible, be mentored. He was like that. So to have somebody to mentor him was me. I believed in mentors. I don't know. I want to learn. I will learn. So I started praying. God, if it's in a book, he will meet that solution. Let him find that book. If it's anything he's going to watch, maybe he goes to a seminar. All the journey. I've been doing coaching since my husband saw coaching. It was the highest level. Let's just do John Maxwell. You understand? But I've been struggling doing coaching with other people. But immediately, we're going for John Maxwell. I got the spouser ticket. So what am I saying to you? If you got married without having your values defined, some of us got married like that. But I have been very intentional with my life. So I keep telling people, some people know me here right from way back, 30 years back and everything. At the end of the day, be intentional. And now that you know better, can we do better? We're not saying change the person, because for us as women, when we start growing, we now do pepper them gang. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know this. The man will never want to know when you start treating him as if he's a dullard. Whoever is your coach is better than him, and you compare. He won't learn. He won't even near you. He won't near your coach. He won't hear nothing. So what do? I read a lot. My husband, he still said it to somebody, say, I can read one book in 10 years. You understand? But that's very laughable. He was just exaggerating, because now he listens to audio books, to messages. His growth, even me, I'm afraid. So you have to be patient with the process. You are doing this. When you do it and they see the results, even your children, there are things my children will do. I'll just laugh like, hey, conditioning, you know, putting that picture before them. And you live in it, because where most people don't want to live the life you are living is when you are fake. You preach it outside. You come inside and say, I beg you, wait till you they talk. Even your children know that you are a liar to yourself. They won't change. So I think the modeling, putting it before them, being the message you want to preach, setting your values, being deliberate. We didn't start where we are today. So give yourself time and just keep trusting God. I think that's what I have to say. I hope it answered you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I guess that did. And over to you, Mr. Tanya.
The next question. Thank you, madam. So on the China policy, it's called the Family Education Promotion Law. And it speaks to a number of things. One, parental responsibility for education captures parents are primarily responsible for the moral, emotional, and academic development of their children. This includes preventing internet addiction and managing their academic workload. Two, balancing child development. The law emphasizes a balanced approach to child rearing, ensuring children have time for study, rest, recreation, and physical activity. It discourages excessive academic pressure and promotes holistic development. Three, it talks to collaboration with schools and community. Parents are discouraged are encouraged to work closely with schools, kindergarten, and local communities to align efforts in educating children, ensuring their well-being and growth. It also looks at mandatory parenting guidance, government support, emphasis on emotional well-being, promotion of gender equality, no discrimination. So it captures all of that. So basically, that's what the China education parenting law is about. That's the China Family Education Promotion Law. But just basically talking about how intentional they are becoming, because China is very big on not wanting their society to fail or for the society to crumble. And in fact, it's as serious for China as before you get married. I think they had some the alpha marriage course. They used alpha to, if you know alpha marriage course, the Christian based, whatever, but they removed all the scripture, Judeo-Christian elements, but just the hard course itself, that it's a course that you must do mandatorily before you get married, just to try to ensure that their marriages are sound and that they have well-rounded families as part of their national security engagement.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm familiar with the alpha marriage course, really quite good and practical as well. If you see anyone doing that around you, you can also check them up online. The alpha series are always very good, whether for knowing if you're questioning your faith or whatever, or in this case for marriage, and even they have for parenting as well. They always run discuss. And it's interesting to hear that China is adopting some of these things. The truth is always the truth, whether we want to sugarcoat it or not. So thank you, Mr. Daniel. And thank you, Madam Bridget, for that as well. I have a question for you, UC. What happens when you set values and at the end of the day, it doesn't turn out good?
Okay. I want to start by saying also a big thank you to the speakers, because everything we're doing here today is aligning and coming together as one. If you really stretch the imagination, you will see that all of those things are all together. And even the question that you just popped up now is also in line with what Madam Bridget had spoken. Now, the truth is that values come from your beliefs. They come from what you know. They come from your experiences. So that means it has the propensity not to take off immediately that you have, started doing them. For instance, when you say you love integrity, there could be instances where you had failed. There could be instances where you hadn't kept your words. But the truth is that this is what you love and you will work towards it. So in the process, there is a process to every value that you're picking. If you're saying that you're going to be a man of integrity, a man of honesty, then be rest assured to tell yourself that for every instance where you are challenged to, push forth that value, you will make every frantic effort to do. But even if you fall short of what you love, it's not a time to quit. It's a time to stay in the game and up your game to something higher. That way, you are growing every day through patience, through learning, because life is going to provide diverse experiences, diverse situations. That there's this saying that they normally say, you can't say you are not a thief until you have been placed in a position where you are asked to handle money. So it's very easy for you to come out and say, I am not a thief, me, I cannot fall for any man, I cannot do this, until you've been tested. So every value you have must be tested. And because you're being tested, is not a prelude for you to run away. Rather, it's an invitation for you to stay firm, grow in it, and even become a symbol for that thing in the eyes of others. So my answer to that person would be patient with the process in yourself. Never quit, because quitters never make it. Quitters are never winners. So stay in the process, push yourself to always affirm yourself in the values that you believe, even when it's not looking like it. I usually tell people that you're not seeing something physically with your eyes does not mean that something is not happening in the inside. So just like we have affirmations that people speak, as you say it, believe it, and stay in the game, And then to the point where that thing has become an unconscious manifestation. That is to say, you are not only in the eyes of people a woman of integrity, but in your whole spirit, all you're going to do when you're woken up unconscious is to stand for the truth. So be patient with the process. Don't quit the game. Keep emphasizing and affirming yourself in the values that you love until you become the symbol of that particular value unconsciously, where you don't need to remember if I should tell a lie or not. Your life is based on truth. That's how it works. Thank you.
Amazing. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much for that encouraging response. Do not quit. Keep going. Stay in the game. Trust the process. Some things don't manifest immediately, and it's not failure. Sometimes you might be doing some things and you're just wondering, I'm not seeing the effect in the life of my children, but you're doing all the right things and you're praying and you're committing to God. I mean, I see our speakers nodding their head. These things are normal situations. They happen all the time. Maybe you've taught a child a particular principle. Even with your lifestyle, you've shown your child an example through that same principle. And it seems like the child is not trying to grasp that. And you know that you keep hearing things like, oh, children observe what their parents do. And then you're wondering, why is my own case different? I'm doing what I'm saying, but they're not. But just bear in mind that the seed is sown. That's what I keep saying. I've seen it happen. And even for some of us, if we also cast our minds back, there are some things that our parents kept trying to put inside of us. At that time, maybe we weren't paying attention. Imagine if our parents said, oh, they were going to quit on us. They didn't quit. And today we've still turned out to be great ambassadors and children of God and all of this. So stay in the game. I'm trying to emphasize what UC said. Stay in the game. Do not quit. Trust the process. It will definitely work over time. Whatever seed you're sowing, it will work in time. All right, Mr. Daniel or Madam Bridget, do you have anything to add before I bring up Oliver? Or do I just bring up Oliver? Any one of you?
Yeah.
Okay, so
No,
okay.
I mean, I think I'm fine.
Okay.
There was a question I saw on the chat. Are you
Yes,
gonna
I'll bring that
ask
up.
it?
Yes,
Okay,
I'll bring
that's
that up.
fine.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Thanks.
And I'm going to direct it to you. Thank you for saying that as well. All right. So Oliver, please, your hand is up. Your question in 30 seconds.
Okay. Thank you so much. Amazing insights. Thank you, Mrs. Bridget and Daniel. I just have, should I say a question, but I would like us to throw more light to the statements that Mr. Daniel made, that it takes a village to train a child. Prior to now, when we were growing up, if you misbehave on the streets, a neighbor can give you a knock or flog you, bring you back to your parents and explain what you did. But things have evolved, in our generation. Could hardly allow our children to even go outside the gates, outside your compound. We have to talk about, someone beat up your child or disciplined your child outside. So I don't know that it takes a village to train a child. I want us to throw more light in that regards in our generation today. Thank you.
Okay, maybe I take a first stab at it. I'm
Yes,
sure
please,
there'll
go ahead.
be more experienced insights from Madam Bridget and Usi. At least in our context, I think that it's important for us to have within our own social network or our own social group people whose values we align with, whose values you are comfortable with. And I give example. When in all the cities we've been, Nigeria, and when we went abroad, and of course we're back in country, we are always very intentional about those around us. So we look, we are scanning, and we are assessing the people around. And so where you have, I mean, I give an example. We got, we're in the international community, people from all over the world. In the school they attended, they had about 54 nationalities with different values. And people always come and say, want to have play dates. I mean, play date was a thing. Play date, we're inviting you for play dates. We vetted the play dates they went to. If we looked at the person and we're like, we're not sure about this family, They're not going. We find one nice reason for them not to go. And then it was a family that we said, well, maybe we can check these guys out. We ensured that they were chaperoned. There was an adult with the kids all the time. I remember one family, they were very upset that we had said, no, they don't have to come. In my mind, I'm like, I don't trust you. In fact, the friendship ended or the relationship ended because somebody has to be there. This person needs to come back and say, this is what was discussed, what they said, this is what they did. You know, because there are all kinds of things happen in some of those play dates or outings. So where we are not sure, there is a chaperone. And then there were families where our kids could go to their house and stay, their kids could come to our house and stay because our values aligned. And you were sure that the parents were looking out. You know, I remember one of those days, my son went to school and he wore the wrong trouser. And again, because international school, they are really afraid to reprimand children. So they wore the wrong. So this lady gets to school. I didn't know that I went to drop him in school, but I didn't know that was the wrong color of trouser. So she's like, Chile, why are you wearing this trouser? He said, but they allow us to wear it. He said, no, but that's not the correct thing to do. And she took on him straight in my presence there. So I said, we're going back home to change. He was so upset. I said, I'm sorry. We're going back home. If you want to do a tantrum, you're not going to school today. So we drove all the way back home and he was complaining that, what about the other kids? Everybody does it. I said, well, you're not other kids and everyone doing it. It's not the reason why. And we went, we did, but she could call him, she called him out because she was so, and we knew that when we send the kids to their house, if there's bad behavior, she will call it out and she will engage it. But some other families would be afraid to do so. So again, those are the kinds of, so you choose based on values and the fact that you trust that they will engage the children the same way that you will engage your own kids. So again, having that, and one last part is there are also things that I am not able to teach myself. It's easier taught by another man or another family, right? So there are this group of older people that we were close to. So now I just say, yo, young man, go spend time with this guy. And he's a cool uncle. So they go stay with this cool uncle. The cool uncle, they go on walks. Then what they're doing that, he's instructing. And so those and he will take it from that cool uncle because that uncle is cool. Daddy is not so cool. So so I'm saying you have that mix. So that's what I mean by a village to raise it. At least that's for me. So maybe the others have some perspective.
Okay, thank you so much. And you're truly right. The people you put around you, it's very important. When we counsel, I'm a family life counselor in the church where I go to in Lagos. And when we counsel young people, we always tell them, number one, if you're going to leave, first of all, we do group counseling. Then we will do your one-on-one. Why are we doing group counseling? It's deliberate. Amongst your group members, you find somebody probably that you want to be friends with, and we encourage that. Then two is also live in an estate. It's a bit safe, and your children can also play. It might be a bit more pricey because people were looking for cheap homes. And then sometimes you go to what I call Lodeba. You know how it said that Mephibosheth was in Lodeba. Nobody can come and look for you. Nobody can come. If they're coming, they're traveling, and people can't get to you. So you can't even get help because the person will think, how do I help you? So some people, because of cheap and whatever, I said, oh, we can't just, if you can't live in an area, I don't not in it. So you can do things. It's important you have a tribe around you. I'm big on relationship. So like you said, normally we don't do all those sleepovers. It's not till now. Our children are adults. They know the rules. Because like we tell our daughter, oh, it's not, no. If anything happens to you, it has happened. We will not be curing and thinking, no. No. So if they are doing those things, I go. If then I used to have a younger sister that live with us, if she has to, she will go. You understand? So we were deliberate in doing that. Now that our children are adults, they have their mentors among my mentees. They don't have to tell me some things. It's not as if I don't care. I care, but I have mentored people that can mentor them. That's continuity. Then our family, it's close-knit. We have my husband's family in one group. I'm always group administrator. My own family, I'm first of 8 children, like I said, 7 of us are married now, just one remaining. We have ourselves, our wives and children. We have 8 of us in another group. We have me and my sisters. So it's a community. So if things are happening, we are chatting. Oh, this is how far. We need prayers. We need this. And they know we are a close-knit family who can help you. And same thing with friends. There are people we've allowed in. It's not everybody. I'm not jollof rice. I'm not suya. I'm not ice cream. Everybody can be my friend. We can say hello from afar. But there are people that qualify to be in my circle because of the values that we've been talking about. So sometimes they might not even be people of the same religion, in quotes, but they have the same love, value, and whatever it is. Because some people say, oh, we are Christians, but they are worse than the devil. So you need to test people and see. So when they qualify to be within your circle, then you also need boundaries. We don't do sleepovers, except we know the person very well. Like we have some friends I can say, okay, this person I can leave my children with. That person I can't. Not everybody. Even if you're my relative, I can't leave my children with everybody. So build that, be intentional. Just like I said, play dates. See the values, the parents, the way they handle children, the way they correct and cope. You see it. And with that, you can manage. So you also need to be that kind of person for others too. Because it's not you leaving your children with others, and when it's time to leave yours, no. People that you allow in, you allow them, they can correct, they can. I'm sure there are things that I don't know that my proteges will correct my children about, but they are safe with them because they've proven over time. So I think that's the safe space we need. And it can be family, it can be friends, it can be church members, but please vet people because the world is crazy out there, and pray about it. And once you see there's something that does not align, you keep, you fire and hire, be higher. And don't, it's their life. Don't play with it, please.
Amazing. You fire and you hire. I love that. Great. I just love, I love it. Set boundaries. So we've heard from play dates, no play dates. We've heard from sleepovers, no sleepovers. But one thing I've heard is still on values. The spaces that we are creating, we must have like some similarities when it comes to values, whether it is family, whether it's community. Let me just stop here. Yusi, do you have something to add to this?
Okay, just a quick one.
Yes, please go ahead.
Because sometimes it's not just about the people you know, but if you are putting some seeds, just like what Daniel had said. Now, a time comes when you have to be confident to release the children to be in the midst of other children, to gain a different perspective to life, a different experience, and even add to the values. A quick example would be that I had a little struggle with my husband trying to release the children recently for a program where they had like a camping program. We haven't done that before. So he was a bit, restraining, like, no, I don't know those people. So I was asking God, how do I convince him? And so in the night I called him, I said, you see, we have been doing the work on these children for the past 14 years. And I think that one of the good ways, which was also what Daniel touched, is to allow them fail privately in our presence. And also, if they go there, it will enable us to see the report card, those 14 years of what we have been doing. And so find ways to adjust and what to add. That was as simple as that, and we released them. Trust me, the feedback was amazing. They did not only go there to become leaders, because as soon as all the children arrived from different parts of people, there were people who were physically challenged. There were children who were coming from, in quotes, kind of not so rich environments where my children have not been exposed to know there are people who eat only once a day. But that was a first-hand experience. They had to come together to learn how to share space. So when you say it takes a village, that's as another aspect of it. You being confident. So they have all children who have never seen an iPad, but they had to be with you. So how do you manage a space? in that kind of situation. So their perspective to life since they came back had enriched. They have now known that these people are still part of the human race, whom they work with. Because when you get married to a community, there will be an uncle who does not have money, who is a member of the woman. You going to throw the person away because the person is not, in quote, enlightened. But a child who had been exposed in terms of the village setting and also in the city setting, we know how to create a balance. So that's another aspect to look at, being raised, the village being raised, because the village consists of many people, consists of the rich, the middle class, and the poor. How you manage these people tells us how balanced you are as an individual. So that's another aspect to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I love that. I really love this. So, okay, so Anne says on point, really, really important and instructive. I also want to believe that in that camp meeting, the purpose would have been also to good leaders with great, with that, those values too. To share values with us, I would suppose you see the only difference here is that we have different categories of people in terms of affluence or whatever, but at the same time, raising children or young who reputable, positive character that can contribute in their families and also contribute in the society. So, great is a village point underneath is value. If our children understand how to and abound, they can cope anywhere, because we can't please them for we have on is enough for them to be able to succeed in the outside world and whatever the outside world means. Because even if you say you want, there's some people do homeschooling. I mean, it's okay. It's in some of these Western ones, especially in the US. But even in the homeschooling, they interact with other families. At the end of the day, there is still that interaction. But the important thing here for us today is to understand that values is actually what drives decisions, it drives choices, it drives actions, it drives behavior, it drives character. And if we have positive values, it contributes to the family and it drives performance as well. All right. So thank you to our amazing speakers. We have one question. If you have more questions and you want to ask in person, maybe by, not really in person, virtually, by raising your virtual hand or putting on your camera, just show me. I have about 10, 15 minutes. I told you that we're doing 3 hours today and we are stuck on that, and we're thankful that we've been keeping to our time because we're having great fun. As you did, it was awesome cure. In fact, awesome event in general, if I may say. All right, so question is directed to Mr. Daniel, I suppose. So the question is, how did you manage kids from seeing TV everywhere? I was going to ask that. That was why I was saying what I was saying. Seeing TVs everywhere else, that is even if they were seeing, I'm not preempting, but in their house. Over to you, Mr. Daniel.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I would like to say normal, but it wasn't. I mean, every time they went, there was TV, and then they like to go to the house, and and I know that, and because my late mom used to talk about that, the children will feel this way. I said, they won't feel anyway. And because the idea at the time was just to ensure that, I mean, now there's the TVs in the house. I mean, we've had TVs the last couple of years, but at least the first 10 years, and possibly a bit more, we intended, just didn't want, but also uses them balance that they had. I use a lot of tech equipment. I mean, I had like three screens in front of me. So UJ, I understand what you mean. 3 screens in front of me and all of that. And so I saw and the kids had regulated. Had screen time. Always someone had rules devices, and when there was when you removed this then trumps, we had to deal with issues around device addiction. Some have device addiction. And let me put it this way. I went for an event in DC about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I forgot my phone and I got into the environment and I had serious withdrawal syndromes. I mean, I knew it was withdrawal syndrome. My hand was shaking because it's a social crutch. And you don't know people. What you do is you hold your hand while we are trying to balance in the environment, and then you are looking at doing other things and being disconnected. But I didn't have it, so I felt awkward. I knew it was a bad outing because I didn't have my phone. So I know even as adults we deal with those withdrawals, and so for the kids, because learning from us, we also say when we sense it, we then do digital fasts. We pull all the device out and say a couple of days, 0 device, normalize. The kids know. They know that if they are too attached, even if they fake it or fake it, if they show that they're attached to the device, it's taken away. And then saying something else a while, when people come and visit, proper device and maybe on the dining table with a bowl of devices there, we put it aside. Now, by the way, they don't have phones. The agreement is that no phone till when they are 15, we evaluate it, but no phones. We don't want strange people reaching out to them or them reaching out to anybody. If you want to talk to the kids, you know who to call. No phones, no access. So it's the device, they're preloaded, there are things, and in fact, we manage all of those things carefully. But is it foolproof? Is it 100%? Maybe not. The truth is, we are in a new era, so we are all learning and trying to find balance as we go along, but the values and the principles remain the same. You don't want to influences speaking to your children. You want to be present parent, doing what they're involved in and what they're doing. You want to be able to speak that they're involved in and doing. In fact, at the point we installed internet nannies in all the devices. Before, if he clicks on the new site, I get a prompt. He has to see permission for him to unlock that website for him to have access to that website. You know, those kinds of things. And so he will have to defend the teacher. So again, it's work in progress. I won't say I have it completely. I would say that every parent's platform actively study how to pair internet. It is reality, and we have to find ways to do so.
Yeah. Let me just quickly add this. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. When you said 10 years, that was good. And maybe we would have. So as a rule, in our own house, what happened? Our children used to watch Disney Channel and stuff. This was when they were quite young. And then one day, you know how they were just talking, because we talk to our children. We have like character time and stuff like that. So we're talking, and I think our first daughter or the second daughter then, we didn't have the boy, I think, came and like, oh, okay, we had the boy, I think it was a baby, I can't remember, but they were old enough to talk. And they said, oh, if you guys divorce, who will we stay with? Who will stay with daddy? Who will stay with mom? I'm like, really? Stay? Where is this coming from? So like, oh, no. You know, the suit life of Zach and Cody. Zach is with one person. That was where TV ended. Till date, there's no TV in any room, as a rule, in any room in a house. Gadgets, we did it till they are 13 years. So if you still see my phone, I still have my children's, how will I say, their friends on my phone, on my device. So my phone was their primary phone until they turned 13. So you get a phone when you're 13. And then we were telling ourselves, well, no, would have said 15. Then there's nothing like video game.
Yeah.
We didn't do video game. The day my son, we went to a dentist and there was a video game. He said, oh, mom sees it. I said, you are not the same, because we just found out, just like he said, those games will just hype, and before you know, they're not reading their books, so many things. So we needed to balance. So where they are academically was the work we put in.
Yeah.
So now there's just one TV in the house and everybody sees it. And when you come, there are things you can't watch. All those ones that you'll be watching horror movie, we cannot. We even got to know later, one of our daughters was watching horror movie and some symptoms that she saw. So later I said, what you watch, what you see? And she was like, Mommy, you're right. This was what happened to me that period. We don't. We would try our best, because they all went to the boarding house. It was a problem, a challenge for me, because I'm the only one that went to a boarding house in my own family, to a public school for that matter. The others, private. So our firstborn, experiment. So with our children, my husband was like, everybody went to boarding house, we will go. So we started praying, and we needed a school that will have the right values and teachers that will be involved. So we did all of that. So now that they are on their own, our second is just entering university. 18, the other one is in a third year. They go from home, but we've said, oh, final year, maybe the other one will go and experience being in school and going to school. It's not, they can do anything now. Even when she comes, sometimes like, I'm 18. When she turned 18, I can sign this, but I need you to know that I am signing this, I'm doing that. She didn't have to tell us. But you've been raised to know what to do. So every home will have the dynamics, but I will always say this, even those that made the iPhone, it was said that Steve Jobs didn't allow his children to, because they know what it will do to them. These things are programmed. So this thing you talked about, basket and co, we started doing it too in our house. Once it's certain time, put your phone there, because you just see somebody online. There are times it takes a village. My sister-in-law, she's on Instagram, like, hey, your children are still on, they are still on Instagram. They will come and tell you. So it takes a village to break. I saw this Instagram. You know how it is that so time they will when you are there. So they'll come. We saw how they have a talk. So it's that same, it takes a village as a child. So when they see, they will talk. So what am I saying? Set your rules. Don't let people train. Yes, so village spies, we love them. We love them. These are tell them what is happening, and they help, because if you're not careful, the children will, you can't have your eyes on them 24/7. And then that's where the God factor comes in. I always tell people, even in marriage, when you talk about values, oh, is my man cheating? Is this? If you start doing that, you can't program anybody. But if you're a person of faith, where will you go from my presence? If you go up there, he's there. You go down below. So whatever you do, God is looking at you. I commend you to God, who is able to keep you from falling. So I don't have that headache of, what is he doing? What is he not doing? You come to a level in your Christianity that before anything comes, it's like TV. When he was talking about secrets, I was almost jumping out of my, God will tell you. He will prepare you ahead. Because you are his friend. That was what Abraham, he said, can I hide this thing? He didn't concern Abraham per se, but because Lot was involved. Lot wasn't Abraham's child, was a nephew. But God had to say this person. And that's how when you're close to people, God shows you things about them. There are people I will see. I was still checking through my phone, and I saw something I sent to somebody. Had a dream, this, that. It was like, whoa, you are so spot on. I said, I wasn't thinking about you. So it wasn't a case, and I know how God speaks to me. So this thing, watch it. And she was like, hey, opened up. I can't hide anything from you. This is what is happening. This is what is happening. That is the relationship we're talking about. So sometimes we say, oh, the world is this, is that. We are not powerless. We have the God that has seen all kind of depravity. Can you we are getting to Sodom and Gomorrah. God had seen it before. So is there anything new? It just comes in new packaging and everything. But what are we doing as people of faith? If I'm talking to people of faith now, what are you doing? How much do you know? And each child, when I say prophetic seed, my 3 children are 3 different people. I can't treat one the way I treat the other. One person, if you say no gadgets, to God be the glory. The other person, if you say gadgets, then they will start having issues. So it depends. Know your children. Some with books, you even give them gadgets, they are not interested. But they want hardcover books. They want to read and mark, and so know them. Don't say, oh, because gadget is raining, let me buy this. Some children don't care even about the gadgets you are giving. Some don't even care about TV, just like he said. Is the outdoor. Let's go and run. Let's go and walk up a sweat and everything. And then you are putting them in front of TV. You are killing them slowly. So let's understand the children God has given us. Says they are made for signs and wonders. They can only be for signs and for wonders when we do the work. Put it in, be intentional. You've come for this now. You have other places you could have been. Keep reading, keep learning, be steps ahead. You don't know it all. You are not God. So sometimes it's arrogance for us to feel, and what do they know? And what do they? I've raised 20-year-old, 18-year-old, 16-year-old, soon a boy. I've raised male. I was telling somebody that said raising boys is hard. Girls are easier. But people say, no, 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 girls. I say, no. Raising boys is hard. I deal with men, so I know what I'm saying. It's hard. And I have a son. When it comes like this, I told somebody, he taught me how to even listen to my husband. You're talking to him, you say, Mommy, look at me. You're paying at your phone. No, 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 no. Mommy, look at me. Like, pay me that attention. I can't do everything if I'm talking to my son. You stop everything and you concentrate. That's what he wants. And my husband will roll his eyes. If I'm talking to him, I'm doing 1,000,010 things. So he taught me how to be present.
Yeah.
That's why you as the parent must learn from your children. You don't know it all. They can teach you so many things.
Absolutely.
That's
so
true.
many things to talk about. This class will not be enough, but please, let's do the work and stop this attitude of I know it all. You use your mother's method to raise new generation children.
Nah,
It can work. The values are still the same, but the methods change.
Oh,
Jesus the same
absolutely.
yesterday, today, and forever. But
That's
his
true.
methods they change. The values remain. That's the foundation. But the methods, what methods are we using?
Wow.
So let's not
Yeah.
be dinosaurs that will go
Yeah.
into extinction. Be like God.
Wow.
Be like
Thank
God.
you so much.
Sorry,
Thank you.
that learning from your children is what we call reverse mentoring.
Yeah.
Reverse mentoring.
Yeah.
You don't know it also from their body language, from their expressions to you. You can learn how best to parent them.
Amazing.
That's
Thank
the
you so
mention.
much. Wow. Thank you so much. Our speakers are amazing. Wow. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Madam Bridget, for bringing in. If you have, is somebody saying something?
No, I was saying that
Okay.
I had a rude shock. I had a rude shock because I'd always said to myself that when it comes to technology, the kids will never outrun me. I will ensure that I'm up to speed and this and that and that. Oh, I've eaten my humble pie. I mean, so there is a school that the young one is, I mean, the kids are part of different, but there's one that well, Elon Musk is part of it, created it, but the teachers are international. So I got listening one day to the conversation, and they were talking about things in space, different galaxies, different this, and because these guys want to land, they want to land a man on Mars, and so they're mining from children because children have no barriers, and they're having discussions that even university graduates don't have. And so I heard my son engaging, like, I mean, really engaging. The guy just know the thing, just talk, and I've never heard him talk like that. So I sat back and listened. So I was in the corner. So halfway, I went and I went to mute, and I now said, "Did you Google?" He said, "No, I know it. Don't you?" I just kept quiet.
Whoa, that's it.
I didn't confirm nor deny. I didn't confirm nor deny. I pulled back. But point is, afterwards, there are many other things. I mean, these guys will watch a movie together. I mean, because we have family nights every week, game nights and all of that. And that's where you get a lot of things. And when somebody's cheating, you then say this person has a way to cheat. I say, come, that's not how we do it. Then you teach based on that.
Yeah,
and as we were doing that, they'll say, that guy is gay, don't you know? I'm like, no. He said, no, but see what he said, and they'll pull it out, give it the guys, this is where he's from, see who is he wife or husband, who is wife or husband, he is CCC. I mean, they understand the whole LGBTQ world because that's the times that they are in.
Yeah.
And then they'll tell you that because they understand it, they know how to protect themselves. So they tell you, no, in order for you to know this is what, and so you sit down with your older wisdom, and you're now trying to find out how do you instruct within this context that they are in. But they have the information, they know things, and or else you might be in a fool's paradise and be living in a bubble that your kids are not exposed to these realities. Whereas you find out later, but if you listen to them, you know what's going on, you know what's happening in their space. I mean, recently I saw my wife sent me a list of things, new what's the word? They were slangs.
Yeah.
And most of the slangs didn't make sense to me. I mean, they were all strange words, strange things. I mean, totally strange. And my wife said, "Have you seen this?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "No." She said, she finished showing me. She said she asked the kids. They all knew it. They all knew it.
Yeah.
And it was like Greek and
True
Hebrew.
story.
So these are very interesting times, and you have to listen to them.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. We have to listen to our children. I think I like to bring out like the underneath message. Listen to our children, create a safe space for them to be able to speak. Hear the questions, hear the moments that you don't even understand. When they come back to tell you, oh, there's a gay person in the class, don't freak out. Oh, wow, what do you think about that? Just trying to understand where their heart lies. But what I will always say is that when we have taught our children these values, and they've also seen it in our lives, and we have prayed, and I love that Madam Bridget emphasized on the God factor. I cannot tell anybody my success in so far. We are still on journey in parenting, or my idea of parenting. It is with God, because God can reveal things to you. I don't know what your relationship is like, but my daughter will always say, "Mommy," when she does something and she wants to say, "Oh, I'm telling you the truth," and then she's saying, "God will tell you." And then the reason why she says, I said, "Why this?" She said, "Because I know that God tells you things and you're always spot on. Because God, I know how God shows me things. Like I get to see things. And when I talk about them in open conversation way, it brings out all the truth that I'm looking for. Not that I'm looking for them, I already know them because I've prayed about them in the realm of the Spirit and God has unveiled them to me. So it's important that we incorporate that God factor, create the safe space for our children. Do not freak out. I'll still use that word. Do not freak out on any question. No question is out of bounds. No discussion is out of bounds. LGBTQ is everywhere. Whether we think it's not in Nigeria, it's in Nigeria. Now, sometimes we think we're insulated because we're in Nigeria, we're in African countries. These children are exposed to the world because of internet. And even if they don't have devices, just know that they're interacting with people who have devices in their schools. Make no mistake, they're also interacting with people who say some things in the schools. But the idea is creating a safe space where when they can come back from school, they can share with us, oh, these are some of the conversations that are one kind going on in school. And then you create a space for that discussion to happen in the home where you now enforce the values. But again, while enforcing, seek for them to own the values. I think that's what all our speakers have tried to say, because when they own the values that we're teaching them, they're able to create and make better decisions wherever they find themselves. Can I just take a moment to say a very big thank you to our incredible speakers? You're all amazing. We are running, I don't want to say we're running short of time because time is amazing.
There's a
Yes.
question, IJ.
Yeah, there's a question. There's a question with me now. One more question. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about. Okay. So there's this question. You see, I don't know that's whether it's the same thing, but there is a question sent to me. What advice would you give a parent who believes in piloting the direction?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay. Who believes in piloting the direction the children should go by personal example, but for a long time has not been able to do that due to economic and career limitations? Okay, let me repeat this question. Please, any one of us among the speakers can chime in into this. Let me repeat that. What advice will you give to a parent who believes in piloting the direction the children should go by personal example, but for a long time has not been able to do that due to economic and career limitations? Right.
Let me speak to that.
That will be the final
When
question.
you're done, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, because I've experienced multiple seasons. There were seasons where there's, when you say a base abound, I've experienced where there was nothing. I've experienced where there was plenty. I've experienced where I was transitioning in between jobs. I experienced where there was no job. I experienced where I was fully engaged. And I will say again, a man's life does not consist in the abundance of the things that he possesses. It's important that you teach your children that first, and that you embody that yourself. Secondly, is that you have to be open to your kids about where you are as a family at every point in time, where you have conversations to say, this is where we are. You've seen the miracles God has done in the past. You see what's going on now and see what we're trusting for in the future. But this decision made, that becomes also very, very useful. So I would say that the parent, first of all, father or mother, needs to understand and accept that his life does not consist in the abundance of the thing that he possesses. Your reason for leadership is not your pocket. The reason my wife respects me is not because I earn more. And the reason the reason I'm their father is not because I can provide, at least entirely, because there are times, fine, you need to provide, but I'm saying that that's not the reason for respect. You need to have, they need to see you as the voice of God for their lives. And that respect has to be done. I think, first of all, we as parents need to grow beyond that. In terms of education, I think that it is overrated because we think provision is paying for a big house, paying for expensive schools, and then expensive whatever. I think that's not necessary. I mean, worst case scenario, I will be the one teaching my children maths, English, and all of that. They will come out, we will teach them if we don't get money to go school. And I'm saying it. You know, if we do homeschool, if we can't afford to do otherwise, if we can't go to a private school, go to a public school. If we can't go, I'm saying, so to understand that, and that education you do for yourself, going to is a different situation altogether. You know, and I think that as parents, we need to know that, because many times we project our own insecurities, our own fears, and our own doubts, and they are actually not real. They are not real. The expensive schools not teaching anything, and there are poor schools that are teaching everything. You know, so I'm just basically saying that the parent is the one that needs to be delivered, not the children. Because once a parent is confident and provides leadership and says, don't worry, for this next year, we are downing, we're going to the village, we're going to farm. And when we farm, we'll produce food in the farm and we'll eat, and we're going to learn about crops, whatever in the farm and the village. That's education. When I was in Malawi, one of my nieces came all the way after doing very well in her GCIE or whatever. She's now in the US now, scholarship. She spent an entire year doing a gap year. What is a gap year? I know they go school. You know, and that's what it is. So she went, what can I do? What development can I work on? And all that. And that's what she was doing. So as a family, you can accommodate those kinds of things. Have a gap year if need be, to say, okay, we can't afford, let's downsize to a small house. You can't go to school. You may not go to school for 3 weeks or for 6 months to 1 year because you can't afford it. So you homeschool or whatever. But I'm saying that we need to deliver ourselves first from that pressure. And I'm speaking experience. I have been under that pressure many times where you felt you could not provide, you could not get things done. God is bigger than your fears. He's bigger than your doubts. And whatever you are going through is temporal, and it doesn't affect your parenting. So take that hiatus, take some space, appreciate where you are, be present in it, and know what you need to learn in that season. But don't live in despair, and don't let it affect your parenting while in that season. It's a chance to teach them a different lesson.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Let me say this, and to the men especially, women too, but to the men, to a child, love is spelled as time. You know, you're being present over, as in your presence is appreciated over present. Because you think when you buy the gadgets, when you buy this, or when you are in a marriage and it's time for assignment, go to your mother. It's time for this, go to your mother. You are already programming them for your, in quote, retirement. We tell our children, if there's anything like Omugo, Papumo, we do it together. So if you are, is buy one, get one free. Either you are buying your dad, you are getting me free, or you are buying me, getting your dad free. So it's deliberate conditioning. We're parenting across nations, let me put it that way, where our children are on different time zone. So like I tell people, now that we're doing this work, it's 5 of us in a group as a family. Then each child in a WhatsApp group with each parent. because they have their personal issues. So they come there to say, this is what I'm going through. And we call. Then my husband is quite busy. He makes the time. So even if you are going to work, there are things that have made life a bit easy with FaceTiming, WhatsApp, you can call. So it's not just being there, because there are parents that say, oh, we are stay-at-home parents, but they are not still at home. They are on social media looking for God, watching their bodily, but they are not their child. And that child can still not feel the presence of the parents. So you're going through that. Mr. Daniel has said it well. Let them know what you're going through. Sometimes our daughter will ask, are we poor? Are we? And I'll be laughing. Are we poor? Can we afford this? Can we afford? We tell them the way it is. So they know. Even when we said, oh, go get a job, do something, people say, wow, why are they working? They are working because this is what the environment they live in demands. And before then, we had already said, oh, you will do this kind of thing, so that we're preparing them for life. And we tell them all the time, we're not always going to be there. But as long as we're alive, God will keep us. We will keep in touch. But like we've said, we've trained you. You can take decisions yourself. We don't want children, after all the work we've done, can't take decisions for themselves. Or and those. So whatever you go through, bring them into it. See how can help you. It's also them in their life. Oh, you want more allowance? Work for it. We will not do a sharing more allowance to spend. You want to live baby girl life? It's okay. Work for it. If you do XYZ, you pay your tithe, you pay this, you can live baby girl life. There was a time one of our daughters brought this. If you see the video, she had worked for the money, and she brought this very high-class wig. Even me, the mom, I've never worn that kind of wig in life. When we calculated the money in naira, like how many millions on your head, which head? So my husband said, I don't have a problem with you buying this wig, but prove to me that you can buy it 3 times over. You can buy it 3 times over, that you have the money to buy it 3 times. That wig in 3. So imagine buying a $2,000 wig, for example. You can buy it 3,000, 6,000. So you must have that 6,000. Then you buy one. And because she knows she doesn't have that kind of money, we didn't have to argue about it. If you can't afford it 3 times over, you can't buy it. So that just puts drama to. We're not saying, oh, you must not wear it, oh, it's too expensive, oh, it's too this. So we didn't have that argument. The dad just said, before you can buy something like this, remember you need to have 3 times the amount, because so that it's not a fluke, you can repeat. So it's the same thing. Teach them money, teach them values, and you have less drama. Even if you are away, they will still know you are present. You are starting school, our daughter just started school, we are not there with her. 2 days to the time we called to pray, who is going to go with you? We said nobody is even allowed. The sister was supposed to go. These are the things. And we have family members around. So little things, you have people supporting. So she was like, yes, I feel your absence, but I really don't feel it. Why? Because this person is filling up the gap. And it's because of the tribe we built around them. So let's also give ourselves time to not overheat ourselves to say, oh, I'm not there, I'm not there. If you cannot do that, what other things can you place to help so that your absence is not felt completely? So there's so many things to do. If you get all of this, things will work out well.
Thank you so much, Ma. Okay, Yusi, do you have something to say? Because I want to give our speakers 30 seconds to say, I wouldn't say, I don't like to say final words, but yeah, something to get us going.
No, because I'm not coming up, so I was thinking it would be nice to come up before they give their vote of thanks.
Okay, no, they're not giving, it's not vote of thanks they're giving. They're just trying to tell us something, one more thing to go with, and then I bring you up. Is that okay? All right, but can I just say thank you so much because that question was really quite a personal one to someone, and it's so good how we have been able to weave our answers together to feed or to answer this particular question. I love that. So teach and embody contentment. Know that there's something you can always offer. To a child, love is spelled as time. I like to bring in these things in case we miss them in the process of the answering of the question. So deliberate conditioning, stay present, be open with communication. If you don't have, you don't have. If we have, we have. If we don't have, and it's fine. Abase and abound. It is life. Life actually happens in seasons. Different things happen at different times. But once we're open with our communications with our children, and as they grow, depending on where they are at, of course, especially if they maybe like 3 years and above, they can understand a few things, educate a 3-year-old or a teenager or whoever. But yeah, that open communication is really, really important. And God is bigger than our doubts. I love that Mr. Daniel said that, and our issues. And in the process of going, life is life, and we can learn what we can, because there's always something to learn in every season. And if I may say, I just pray that God will continue to meet all of us at the point of our needs when it comes to parenting and raising our children. All right, very quickly, in 30 seconds, I will have our speakers say something, or something they want us to live with. Thank you so much. I will start with Madam Bridget.
Okay, thank you so much. So, talking about driven by value, I will always put God value to say, even if you don't believe in God, if you believe in a power that is higher than you, do what works for you, but live your value, live your value. That's why I said husband's definition, values are defined as, your guiding principle that helps you make 1,000 decisions upfront. So once you have that 1,000 decision, you've made that value, live by it. Once you do that, believe you me, your life will be better for it. So let's be driven by value. Let's learn to also grow, because for some people, the challenge is the growth. Your children are growing faster than you are growing. And let's not become dinosaurs. God will help us as we open, growing, learning, and we're driven by value and putting in the required work. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Ma, for that. Let's live out our values. Over to you, Mr. Daniel.
Yeah, I would say that we should be conscious about just pursuing. Sometimes the fear of the destination can be overwhelming. So let's understand and take it one day at a time, and know that we are showing up every day. Just show up and never give up is what I would say. Show up. If you have to, and when you show up, present. When you show up, be present. Show up for the learnings you need, the things you need to learn. Be aware. Be self-aware of what's good for your as a parent. If you feel overwhelmed, be conscious about it and sit with it, and don't dismiss it, because sometimes we're throwing tantrums and doing things not aware of the turmoil going on and the fear and the doubt and all of that that's going on inside. Sit with it, and when you sit with it, be conscious of it. Then seek out help consciously, whether you are, in that your victories in the pursuit. So you're pursuing the help and all of that, and while you are doing that, and then you're showing up for the kids, and then be present regardless. In all of this, build a strong support community around yourself. It will be very helpful. And then with above all, we trust God. And just to say a story, just to capture that. When I was going through a few things, a friend of mine, very close friend of mine, got cancer. And he got cancer in the midst of all the things. Very close. I've known him since we're in secondary school together, and we walked one long path together. And I was the first person he calls from the hospital that he had cancer. And I tried to be strong on the phone. Once the phone would go off, I started crying and all of that. And every time I called him, I would be emotional. When I would talk on the phone, I'll be strong. Once I go off, I'll be emotional. And we've seen God do miracles, and we've seen God do things. But I lost my mother to cancer. I've lost other people to cancer. And many times when you pray, and you prayed, you expect the person to die. Let's be honest. We're just praying, we're preparing for whatever is going on. But cut long story short, and the times when I was praying, I told God, I told the Lord, forget faith. I don't have faith. I don't have faith. You're bigger than our faith. You're bigger than this. Cut long story short, the guy miraculously healed. I mean, he was stage 4 cancer. He gets miraculously healed. And his testimony has been sent to many believers across the world, and there's been a word of encouragement. Because we needed the encouragement. And that whole reality. I mean, my wife was telling me, you were saying you're going to be calling him and praying to God for him to get healed. Now he's healed. You don't call him again. So I called him. I said, my brother, the truth is, I don't know how to relate with this your miracle, because normally when we pray people like this, they die. But this one, when you I don't know how to. So we laughed about it. But you see, the point I'm making is God is bigger than
That's
our
right.
doubts.
That's right.
God is bigger than our fears. God is bigger than our insecurity. Let's have faith in God. Show up to him, present these things to him, trust him for the kids, hand the kids over, hand yourself over, and let's genuinely trust him in spite of ourselves. That's all I would have to say.
I love that. Thank you so much. Genuinely love and trust the Lord. Remove all the doubts. Even if you have the doubts, pray with the doubts, but just trust that God is able. And create safe, show up, create safe spaces. Just keep going. Don't ever get tired. You know, God is in the process. And we'll definitely share our testimonies. And thank you for sharing that encouraging testimony. I'm sure that might actually help someone here. We never know. Maybe somebody is going through something and is still wondering, God, how is it going to happen? Because it doesn't look like it's ever going to happen. But that testimony that you've shared, it will be quite encouraging to someone. So a lot of people are saying thank you. In the chat, I want to take a moment to say thank you to the speakers. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Thank you, Madam Brittany. It has been such an empowering and inspiring meeting. I love the angle that we have taken it today is value driven, putting in the work. So we have practical steps on some of the things we can do. I want us in the chat, as I'm bringing the convener up, to give us some announcements and maybe close out the meeting. I want you in the chat. I always do that in every meeting I go to, especially teaching meetings, not necessarily maybe like events or entertainment meetings. I like you to just put in the chat the one thing that you're going to do differently when it comes to your parenting. Always good to commit to something in a group, in a community like this, that makes you want to own that thing that you have learned today. So what's the one thing they are going to do more? Don't do less. Whatever it is, do more, do less, or start doing, or stop doing. I want to just say it in the chat. So one thing, as I bring up our incredible and amazing convener, Ugochi Samuel.
Thank you, Jay. You have been amazing from start to this point. Thank you. I don't know. I think I would like the feedback. We have a feedback form kind of for today. It would be nice if it's put on the chat so that people can probably respond to those questions, because we need that feedback as it is. Ade, I don't know, Ijoma, I don't know if you have access to those questions so that they can also respond to it. So thank you everyone for staying up to this time. It's I can't even find a word to exactly describe today's meeting, but it's not different from what God's expectation for today is. And I'm hoping that you are having a lot of takeaways. Parenting is God's partnership with you for multiplicity. That is why it has nothing to do with your biological children. It's more about who God is bringing your way. So it's not about what you're wearing or what you think you have. It's more about what others can wear because of you. It's not about what you're eating, but what more people can eat because of you. So sometimes, oftentimes, it's not just tied to the people in that your enclave, but that is a spirit that you're embodying, to always have it in mind, to make sure that your life affects as many people as possible, whether they're directly under your influence or that you're coming across them in the course of work, course of ministry, in the course of anything. Let them see that spirit of family. Let them see that spirit of multiplicity, that you want to always give and give to the point that they will be so pleased and at peace to be with you. That's just what I wanted to say as a top up on that session that just ended. So it's a continuation of what we have, but just a brief announcement to let us know how God is taking us and how we're going to move into the next phase. In fact, today's meeting has set the tone for that. And we're looking at transiting into something that will now become more tangible in terms of people coming in to see us. And the first thing we looked at was to look at something, a name that would go with us. And we know Lifepoint is excellent, but we could hear within us to add horses, because all the while it's been Lifepoint with UC, which I think is just a stream of what this Lifepoint will be. So while considering Lifepoint horses, because we're believing that anybody that comes in contact with us, just like what the horses represents, we're going to be having like a fertile spot in the desert. All your challenges, at any time you come in contact with us as a Lifepoint, there will be that moment of spark, there will be that moment of hope, there will be that moment of fertility, something that you're going to take away. So we are going to speak more on this as we get into our WhatsApp group, our community. We have a community. And I'm trying to employ everyone. If you're not a member of that community, I see the link on the chat room now. Please, it would be nice to join that community. Honestly, it's not because I'm the one behind it in terms of pioneering the vision, it's of what I am seeing it do in my life and the life of the people who are members there, and even those who are connected to members. So that is why, as the link is being posted, it would be nice to either copy it or directly get yourself enrolled in that community so that we can grow. This is just what you're seeing today is just a tip of the iceberg. I think that's how they say it. So there are many more from where this is coming from. The truth is that if you are not a person of value, it will be difficult to attract another person of value. That's how it works. I mean, the values will always align, and it's not only in marriage, it's also in collaboration, it's also in partnership. If they don't find me a person of value, they would not have answered this call today. And that's what I want to also pass across. I want members of my community to be people of great values, wherever place they are. And by the time you know it, a rising army would have come up that will be able to make a change, make a difference anywhere we are. So to do that, we're also thinking it would be nice to have a formal registration as a group. I know that a lot of people, there are many places that people have registered and they belong to, but we're not worried because we know that this vision, where it came from and who is pioneering it, who is piloting it, it's God himself. So we're trying to have a formal registration so that we can know our members and know the people who belong to us. So that is why I'm emphasizing that you join this group, this WhatsApp group, because more announcements will be coming in there for us to know how this registration will be done so that we can have something formal to work with. If you're in with us, we know that you are a fully registered member. We'll tell you what the registration entails. You register and become a member of Lifepoint community. It will no longer be like, oh, everybody's just there. We now begin to take care of you. And these are the services that we want to go into going forward. We want to begin to liaise between us and schools. I have had a lot of parents come to me to ask questions about certain essay competitions, certain science competitions, which I also have access to a lot of school owners who I interact with and who are willing to liaise with us, inform us of all of these things. So if you have children within the school age, especially primary to secondary, this will be a great benefit to you. And if you have older children who are in the university, we also have mentors who are working with us in Lifepoint. I'm only trying to let you know the benefits therein, because there are some schools that the children belong to, they don't even know what is happening. They don't even know of some of the international exams that are going on. And yet you as a parent, you have that in mind for your child. Lifepoint will enable you achieve this as we update you from time to time what these services are and how you can access them. I've also had issues or cases where people came and asked for lesson teachers for their children. And because I liaise with them, I'm also able to speak to some teachers who are willing to do such. Lifepoint will be veering into that. Lifepoint will be veering also into family values and government policy. By the grace of God, with what we are going into and for what we are seeing currently, I am thinking that it will be nice for my community to stand firm because great things are opening up. So all I'm saying is register in this community so that you can have access in full-blown message and benefits of what Lifepoint is going to be offering going forward. Thank you very much for being a part of this meeting. I am to say that I am overwhelmed with the turnout is something that is beyond words. Even before this morning, I wasn't sure. I kept on checking. I said registration, people are not registering. But you see, God surprised me. When I began to hear from people, I said, I'm sharing this in this place, I'm sharing this in other places. To have people sit with you in a meeting from start to finish, it's not something that comes cheap. So it's either you're adding value to those people's life or you're not. That's what happens in a meeting. So when you're not, they quit at will. I mean, that's why the buttons are there. You exit, you also come in. So when you people sit, it means there's something valuable that you're adding. And to talk about the speakers today, they are beyond amazing. The choices of two of them was quite a funny one. But I was only sure in my heart that, oh, I could speak to them, but were they going to be available or accept? I wasn't sure. But when they honored me by saying, oh, they'll be there, my heart was gladdened because these are two amazing people that I have seen walk the talk. I have seen them, well, let me start with Mr. Daniel, just like what he said in terms of transitioning of different locations. And sometimes I ask myself, how does he do this? Because you can't do that without it impacting on the dynamics of the family. But to have managed the expectations and balanced out the family life so well that he is there to speak to us is a testament of God's grace and the amount of work he had put in with his wife in the family settings. That's why I considered him a good fit to speak today in putting in the required work. Daniel has also transitioned in the area of career. So that question that came at this end was a very prophetic one, because this is a season that he had known many times. And I dare say that there have been times where even people had to go to his place, just take a mini vacation to just talk with him and share mind together over how they could go through this season. And believe me, it was an excellent one. So him being picked for this topic was not just a coincidence, and God used him mightily to bless us today. Mrs. Bridget's election is I'm sure she may or may not remember what I want to say now. We belong to the same network of family people. And there's something I do. I pick my friends by values. I watch you, I test. Don't ask me about my own strategy. You pay, I will teach you. And I see whether our values align. So the first somewhere, and then we were going. She didn't come with her car. I didn't come with my car. And then we boarded, I think, an Uber. So when we were going, I told the Uber person, okay, she's going to stop at her residence, which is before mine. So I was taking a longer journey. So when we were getting there, she said, I don't know how much this is going to cost, but just to add to, in my mind, I said, look at me that is trying to tap blessing. I want to be with you, telling me that you want to pay. Just also in my very courteous way, if you know me, I said, oh, thank you, ma'am. That won't be necessary. Everything about this journey has been paid for already. I don't know if she still remembers. She dropped off in her residence. I was not thinking. I said, one day, this woman will speak in my platform.
Period.
And I made up. Yes. So when the first one came, the first time I held, I wasn't sure she was the one. But the second one, I went in on my knees. I said, she must agree. So when she said, for now, it will be in September. But for now, I will be part of it. I said, nothing will stop you from being here in September. And lo and behold, only of about 4 years ago, when this first striking came, has been, and many more to do with her. Madam Bridget Eleche, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Honoring me.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful.
And to the amazing people who have been here, I can't even say enough. Oh, and to the amazing MC. IJ has not just been a friend. IJ has been a sister. Me and IJ has slept on the same bed. Me and IJ had done a lot of things. She's my junior. Let me start so that you don't think.
Be careful. Stay humble.
Stay humble. I like that.
On this team, even when I was looking for where to get an MC without knowing that the pleasant pressures and surprises and gifts of God is residing within me. I mean, look at how amazing. You will all agree that she has been an amazing host, amazing moderator, and I'm grateful. I'm really overwhelmed with joy, and I know that 2025 coming Lifepoint conference is going to be amazing. And let me say, it's going to be a physical conference. I stick by the faith, and I know it will come to pass. So please, thank you very much. Thank you. I don't know.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So Yusi has taken a moment to thank everybody. It's now our turn to thank her. I mean, it is. I know she would want to shy away from that, but can we just take a moment to say a big thank you to the convener of this meeting? We've had great value delivered to us from our amazing speakers. I can't even thank them enough. I mean, it's such a privilege to listen to Mr. Daniel for the very first time. And I'm like, I'm just going to be looking out for wherever. I know how I do my own things, so it's all right. But thanks, thanks, Mr. Daniel. Thank you, Madam Bridget. But let's really thank UC for bringing this incredible speakers here and bringing us together. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, UC, for nurturing this vision. I know when we started talking about this, I know the stats. I know how you sound when you're doubting what God has put in your heart. And I just know that you have a very big, large heart for people, for families, for young people, for values. And we can see it is a testament to who you are. And even your children, I see them, I interact with them. You also walk your talk. That is the truth. So, and it needs to be said. And if you're saying what you're saying, you're saying from practical experience, you know what you're talking about. So yeah, thank you so much, UC, for being a blessing to the world. It gets better. I love all the things that you've talked about. So guys, please join our WhatsApp group, because I mean, that's WhatsApp. You cannot come here and you're not joining. Join for further information, for personalized coaching, for personalized attention. I always said, I think I said it to her yesterday, I said some people will actually need personalized coaching. A lot of these things can happen in a group, but your family issues might be peculiar. The things that you're dealing with might be peculiar. I heard that some people go to Mr. Daniel's house to receive instruction. I mean, these are the things that we're talking about. So you need to have that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Some people will have to have that personalized attention given to them. All right. So thank you so much. We look forward to greater times ahead. Thank you for making Lifepoint Conference 2024 a success. We give God all the praise. And I just want to say a quick word of prayer. I don't know who's going to pray for us. Madam Bridget, I can see you're also a pastor. I didn't know that bit. So please, can we have
Okay.
Pastor Bridget, please pray and close us out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so, Heavenly Father, we thank you because indeed you made today possible. Thank you for our convener. Thank you for how you've helped her and her family. Thank you for all the speakers, for my brother Daniel. Thank you for myself. Thank you for IGR, able moderator. Thank you for everyone that you brought here to listen to us. Thank you, because they will not just listen, they'll be doers of this word. And Lord, you will bless and multiply their efforts with good success in Jesus' name. Lord, as we go, we're not leaving your parents. You are a God that knows how to father us. Thank you for being a father indeed. Lord, help us as parents to parent with you, to parent like you, and to parent for you, that at the end your name be glorified forever. In Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen.
Amen.